everybody. What's cooking, good lookins? You know I'm talking to you. What's cooking, good looking? It's nice to see you again here today. Welcome. This is Green Bean, and I am episode 103 of GreenBean's Jets Pod. You like that? I heard it coming in correctly, and I let it. I said, you know what? It's going to come in correctly backwards, if you will, and we're going to roll with it. So there we are. I am episode 103, and this is GreenBean's Jets Pod. And guys, my week and a half of health issues just continues, man. I'm sure you hear it in my voice. I caught a pretty nasty chest bug on top of the Bell's palsy and the food poisoning. This is my hope. Everybody. This is it. This is it for 2023, right? I'm getting it all in now. Yes, it stinks. It's kicking me around. I'm having a really difficult time, but it's going to be over. I'm going to have the healthiest damn 2023 you ever laid eyes on, baby, after I get rid of this thing. So my face is still there. It's improving. So I think the treatments are working. That's nice. Still can't whistle, which is heartbreaking. I still have this whistle, though. I can still do that, but I can't do my main whistle. But I got to say, it feels better. I feel like when I trying to lift both my eyes, and they're still not responding all the way, but it feels like it's coming back, which is nice. The food poisoning, obviously, that's in the past. But now here I am with this chest cold. It stinks, man. All kinds of traveling and stuff. This is the whole thing with traveling. As you guys may or may not know, Dom C and myself were able to whisk our little selves down to Mobile, Alabama to check out the Senior Bowl, which is an amazing experience, by the way. But my night staying in the airport overnight because Atlanta Airport or Delta decides, we're going to cancel that flight. They let me sleep on the chairs there. That was good. All kind of started there, I never really got well down there, but now came back and here it is. But man, let me tell you, football is alive and well all over the place. There are fans everywhere. The passion is through the roof everywhere that you go. And this past weekend really showed me that in a lot of ways, guys. We have quite a few things to discuss. We're going to talk about a little bit what went down at the Senior Bowl. We're also going to discuss the Pro Bowl games. What's up with that? And you remember the Pro Bowl used to be a big game, and it's different. They had to reshape this thing because the last few years it was, I can't do that. It doesn't work. Well, doesn't work. There you go. Good enough. So the games have been atrocious, boring, fake, tackles are not trying. It's just boring to watch. So I think the NFL did an interesting thing and really did a good job of reimagining this whole thing. So we have that as well. Now, guys, we also have speculation and rumor season in full effect. I am seeing some of you, my beloved partners in Jets pain, just losing their marbles already. And nothing's real yet, guys. Nothing is real. We're going to get into all that speculation, rumor. I'm going to do it. I'm going to give you guys a couple tidbits on how to decipher if things are real or not. I do this every year. I didn't do it this year. I just felt kind of like I was a broken record, but I think I need to do it. I'm going to do it. It's a public service announcement, so we'll do all that and get that over to you guys as well. So you can kind of know, man, I don't need to go to pieces over this. Nothing even happened. It's just a tweet, something like that. So we'll figure all that stuff out. Before we get into all that, guys, if you guys have not subscribed to this amazeballs channel, Green Bean Jets fan, now is a perfect time to do so. You go ahead and you click that little subscribe button. It helps the channel grow. And on your way out, if you don't mind hitting that little thumbs up, that is greatly appreciated. Very, very helpful as well. If you're looking for increased access, more exclusive content, you can join the best damn group in the world, the Beanbaggers, and you can do that. There's a link in the description of this video. You click on the link, you choose your tier and what's associated with it, and it's a good time, man. We spend a lot of time together. I was able to spend Wednesday night with them down from the Senior Bowl, give them all of our interviews and all that sort of stuff. So they're the only ones that get a lot of that stuff. So you can join in and have some fun with that as well, joining the Beanbaggers with the link in the description. Now, guys, I also want to remind you that this very podcast is sponsored by none other than Manscaped. Manscaped, I'm almost out of the oil already. I told you guys, they sent me a brand new product. Look, we all know about the Lawnmower 4.0, the best damn buzzer for below the men's waist grooming in the world, without question. And they also have the Weed Whacker and the Cologne, but they just put out a new line, the beard line. Oh my God, a brand new buzzer specifically designed for beards, the balm, the shampoo, the oil. I love it. I'm telling you, man, I'm almost out of the oil. I'm like maybe I'd say a little bit below halfway. I've had it for, 8 days. So I love it to death. You can dive into the Manscaped world by going to manscaped.com. The link is in the description of the video. And you can save yourself an additional 20% by using the promo code GreenBean. That is in the description as well. If you forget, it's just GreenBean, all one word. Save yourself 20% and free international shipping by using that awesome promo code GreenBean. And thank you to Manscaped for sponsoring episode 103 of GreenBean's Jets Pod. Now, guys, we like to start the show with a little segment we call the player profile. Now, interestingly enough, we've done a bunch of them, but we have not talked about someone that I believe is not going to be here for very long. That's just how I see it. I think that they're probably not long for the team, but they are wearing the number 103, currently for our New York Jets. So let's get into our player profile of the week. None other than one of our ballyhooed free agent signings just last year, Mr. Jordan Whitehead. Now, Jordan Whitehead, again, was signed as a free agent last year. A lot of us wanted Marcus Williams, who ultimately went to the Baltimore Ravens, and the Jets came away in the free agent period last year with a safety that a lot of us did like, Jordan Whitehead. He was supposed to really bolster our run defense, and we were psyched about it. Now, he signed this 2-year, $14.5 million contract, and it turns out that this season, the 2023 season, we can get out of it and save twice as much money as it would cost to keep him. Now, it'd be fine keeping him, right, if he was playing well. The problem is he led the team in missed tackles, guys. So Jordan Whitehead is a 5'10", 198-pound safety. He was a 4th-round pick, so not a guy coming into the NFL with a high, really high pedigree, but has done very well for himself playing for the Buccaneers. And when he signed the contract, while it didn't break the bank, it was a nice free agent contract, and a lot of people were very, very happy that we signed him. Again, he was supposed to really support the run. The problem is, while he's done okay in pass coverage, he has missed 17 tackles. And that's in addition to some of the poor angles and just really boneheaded plays, being out of position. There's a lot of that sort of stuff too that's really attributed to him, his mistake. So Jordan Whitehead missing 17 tackles. An interesting little stat, by the way, is he's tied with somebody else. You know who else? You know who it is? Somebody that a lot of us want to re-sign. And that's Quincy Williams. Quincy Williams also was credited with 17 missed tackles this season. There's going to be some real difficult decisions to make. You got to look through all this stuff, see who you think that might be an anomaly or somebody that might be the way it's going. Jordan Whitehead, the fact that we can save $7.25 million to cut him, this so happens to be a year that the New York Jets are not really that rich with the cap dollars. Now, the Jets, we're used to having a lot of cap money. Anywhere $50, $70, $90 million sometimes. The Jets don't have that this year. So creating $7.5 million or just under $7.5 million could be pretty attractive when you're looking at a player who missed 17 tackles last year and was a part of some real problems on the defense. I mean, we had a very, very strong defense. He was one of the weaker links. And the truth is that you probably could at least get that production with another fourth round pick if you want to, or somebody with a lower cap price, something along those lines, because Jordan Whitehead, unless he's willing to renegotiate, which I doubt he is going to be a cap casualty cut. And the Jets will still be on the hook for approximately $3 million, just a tick under $3 million in dead cap. But again, they're going to save $7.25 million. And I, for one, think Jordan Whitehead is going to be going away this free agent period. That's just what I think. Now, there's a few players that I think that's going to happen to as well. And collectively, with us not having so much real cap flexibility this year, guys that can release, 5, 7, 10, those kinds of, stacking them up, you can create another $40, $50 million, and that can really help you to accomplish the goals that you're trying to get done this offseason. We have ourselves a nice, talented young roster. If somebody's a weak link, you've identified it, you can save $7 million, move on, man. So if you already know it's bad, go ahead and make that move. So there he is, Jordan Whitehead. I will admit to you guys, I was happy with the free agent signing. I was very happy with it. I was happy with him and Laken Tomlinson. Laken Tomlinson I was downright psyched about. So real weird. I mean, I don't think that these free agent signings could have been seen as negatives when they happened. I mean, very few people were anti. Now, again, there were people that certainly wanted Marcus Williams and a few other. You wanted us to trade for Jesse Bates. There was a few other guys out there. But I think most fans were like, okay, this is a solid signing. Can't wait to bring him into our defense and have his impact help the defense to improve. Don't forget, last year we were the 32nd ranked defense, everybody. So Jordan Whitehead, number 3 for episode 103, is our player profile of the week. So, like I said, we've been traveling over here. We've been bebopping around the eastern seaboard all the way down there to the Gulf, and that was to see what most people call the beginning of this year's draft period, right? The NFL draft starts in Mobile is one of the catchy sayings that we see all the time when mentioning the Senior Bowl. So we were down there, Dom C and myself. We also got to hang with guys like Max Dean and Dylan Terman from Jetnation. I'm not sure if you guys saw this. I actually got to spend some quality time with none other than Connor Hughes. That was a nice little happening, huh? We chatted, we met up, we got some time to shoot the breeze, very positive, and that was a good time too. So guys, let's talk about the Senior Bowl and all the other stuff that took place in these last few days in this week's News of the Week. All right, man. So again, the Senior Bowl is a super cool opportunity to see players at the very beginning of the process. It's a much more laid back than you think it is. It's one of those environments where everybody's kind of loose. Nobody's real uptight yet. The secrets, nobody's looking over their shoulder yet. People are just looking around, talking to each other, interviewing, taking notes, all those kinds of things. And it's a very loose atmosphere. And in my opinion, one of the better things that I was able to do concerning the NFL in the past few years. I enjoyed it thoroughly. Now, one of the areas that I was really focusing on is offensive line, right? As much as I didn't really get the opportunity to dig into this year's Senior Bowl quite like I have the last few years, particularly last year with the New York Jets being one of the coaching staffs, this year was a little bit different. I was learning about these guys before my eyes while I'm watching them on the field. Now, we parked ourselves right next to the offensive and defensive line drills. That's kind of where we wanted to be day one when I got there, which was actually day 2 of the practices. We just parked right in front of the linemen, and let's watch what they do to each other. And we got to see some pretty neat things, man. You see some guys, some names that you might be familiar with, names that the Jets might be interested in We're able to be, 10, 15 feet away, just focusing on those guys, then getting the opportunity to interview those guys and spend a few moments with them is just so cool, guys. Now, there's a few people I want to mention quickly, but I think had a good showing while we were there. Now, there's someone that we're talking about all the time in our mocks these past few weeks, and that's center John Michael Schmitz. We're talking about him as arguably the best center, the top center in the entire draft. We got to get a real good look at him, and I'm going to tell you guys something. I love him. I'm all aflutter with this guy. He had himself a very strong Senior Bowl week, and I think that he secured any opinions about him. People wondering, hey, let me see if this guy's what I think. He did everything that could be done to just secure where he stands in the center rankings as far as this year's draft. Now, another guy is Steve Avila. He's another one, man, and you can actually see a little bit of nasty on his reps. One-on-one reps with offensive linemen is one of my favorite things in the world, all the way back to when I was coaching kids. I love one-on-one blocking reps. I love it even more when you throw a running back in there and a linebacker. I just love that sort of stuff. To me, it's like the core of football. Just two guys, hike. I love it to death. Avila performed very, very well. But also you could sense, you could feel, you can see just a little touch of nastiness. Now, I was able to tell him that when I interviewed him. I got a few moments with him, and I'll show you that now. I was able to mention that to him, and I came away from the interview liking him even more. Check it out. What do you think about playing center for the Jets? Any interest?
I mean, wherever is fine. I mean, I don't really have a preference. I came in with the goal of showing that I can do both, that I'm a versatile player, that I can be utilized anywhere, that I can fit in any scheme. So it's up to the coaches where they want me.
Right on. If you had to pick, like if you were going to be a center or a guard, I know, and if you don't want to answer, that's fine.
So I kind of have a recency bias because I came off of a 13-2 team while I was playing left guard, got all these accolades. So I've been doing that since August. So right now, left guard is what I'm more comfortable with. But that's just with reps. I've been doing that for almost 3-4 months. So, it's like riding a bike. You never forget how to do it.
Yeah, right.
So that's how I feel with center.
So what do you know about New York and New Jersey? Anything you can tell me? You have any opinions?
My agent's from New Jersey, right?
Oh, there you go.
There you go. I got a friend in New Jersey.
There you go. That's a nice in. Not bad. Not bad.
Yeah, that's about it. New York. There you go.
It's different. It's different.
Dang, he's probably gonna give me crap for that.
Yeah.
I'm not much. I've been in Texas my whole life, so excited, for wherever I land. To learn a lot about new areas and stuff, new people. So I'll be excited.
Yeah, I was watching your reps before today. You look nasty. I'm really hoping that we might lose our center this year. So starting with somebody like yourself would be fantastic. Again, you're probably the number one guy when we talk. If we were going to draft a center or interior, it's you. So I appreciate your time, man. Thank you.
So much.
Nice to meet you. Now, a guy who he didn't necessarily ruin his draft stock or anything, but he had one of those reps that just comes out of the practices and sort of goes viral, and that's poor Jarrett Patterson. Jarrett Patterson from Notre Dame was the guy who was really considered right behind Linderbaum in last year's draft, the top center. He was the next guy on everybody's board, and he chose to stay in school, and he ended up playing a lot more guard. Now, Dom C got an opportunity to speak with him, and he talked about that. And one of the things that he said that he thought was very beneficial for him going into the draft, that more NFL teams can see, he had 3 years of center tape, and he wanted to put a good solid year of guard tape. He played a lot of left guard this year, and that was something that him and his camp thought that was really what they wanted to accomplish, and he thinks he's going to be more attractive to NFL teams come draft day, and I think that makes a lot of sense. Now, again, his rep is just, look, he got bulldozed, and that's really one of those things that, he did well otherwise, but that one rep, I'm sure if you've looked at the Senior Bowl practices at all, I'm sure you saw it already. But Jarrett Patterson, if you haven't seen it, take a look, Jarrett Patterson Senior Bowl, and you'll more than likely see that rep. And it's unfortunate. He got bulldozed, and it just is what it is. Other than that, he did pretty well. And A lot of guys stood out to us. We got to really focus in on safety JL Skinner. A lot of guys are talking about the Jets might be interested in him. There's, articles coming out. But a lot of people are looking at JL Skinner as somebody that you might be able to get after that first wave of safeties is taken in the first round. Let's say there's 2 or 3 safeties taken in the first round. JL Skinner is a guy that people are thinking might just be there in that next wave. Now, there's a lot of time, a lot of things can happen with the combine and just all sorts of stuff that goes on between now and the draft. And he can skyrocket, he could shoot up, but currently he's an interesting guy to keep an eye on. We got to spend some time with him and really chat. And he's another one, extremely likable, knows his football, just loves to talk shop. And he had himself a real good Senior Bowl week. And I think he's another one that Jets fans can be really interested in as we inch closer to the draft. Like I said, offensive line was my main area of focus. Defensive safeties in particular, not so much cornerbacks, but there's a wide receiver that we were looking at. Now, interestingly enough, he's a guy that I penciled in to my off-season plan late in the draft. Now, I grabbed him late in the draft, and this is Cincinnati wide receiver, speedster, Trey Tucker. Dom got some opportunity to speak with him, and we watched him closely throughout the whole Senior Bowl week. And let me tell you something, man. He was turning heads all over the place. There's no way this guy's making it to the back end of the draft, like I said in my original mock. In my opinion, it's just not happening. When we talked to him, Dom asked him what he thought he's bringing, and he said, look, I think I might be the fastest guy here, but in addition to that, I'm a blocker. I'm physical. I'll do all those things for you. And that's one of the things that he was trying to convey to everybody. He's a smaller wide receiver known for being quick. But on top of that, he's got no problem laying the wood and being a part of your blocking scheme as well. And I think that's one of those areas, we've talked about it so many times. It's one of those areas I find so valuable with wide receivers. Now, is he a fit in Hackett's system? Maybe not. We're hearing all sorts of things, about Hackett. He likes the bigger-bodied wide receivers. That might bode well for guys like Mims, but it's not going to bode well for them bringing on some of these smaller guys like a Trey Tucker. It's unfortunate, but either way, he had himself a good Senior Bowl week, and I think Jets fans are going to be looking at him, and I think a lot of you guys are going to be wanting the Jets to call his name. Whether or not it happens, I don't know. Either way, no matter how you slice it, guys, it was a really great experience. I love how they run it down there. The interview times are a little shorter than maybe I'd like, but guys, it's just such a cool environment to be at. Now, next we got to get ourselves into the combine and see what we can learn in there. Get our own interviews set up, man. Wouldn't that be awesome? But no matter how you slice it, the Senior Bowl was super cool. I'm very grateful that they allowed us to go down there and be a part of the press. So the other thing, man, that's just look, we didn't know what it was going to be. The Pro Bowl game. So we got comedians and we got Snoop Dogg and we got all this fun stuff that the NFL took a shot at rebranding because the last few years, how terrible was the Pro Bowl? Now it's an honor. Every player wants to be selected for the Pro Bowl, of course. And in years past, I can remember the Pro Bowl games being good. The MVP of the Pro Bowl meant you were the best guy out of the best guys. That's what it meant. When I was younger, I loved watching the Pro Bowl. I loved seeing all the stars get together and play, and it meant something different. Now, as the years have rolled along, it's become pretty evident that it's not worth ruining your career to make a play at the Senior Bowl, the Pro Bowl, which really, when it boils down, doesn't amount to anything, right? Yeah, great. You can get your bragging rights or something like that. But we've seen the Pro Bowl game itself really become just a big heap of nothing. It was nothing. These guys, they're just walking around. They hand him the ball. He runs to the line. Nobody blocks. They just put their hands on him. And that's kind of what we were seeing. Now, Jamal Adams, when he was a Jet, he didn't know how to do that. He's sacking people and hitting hard and everything. And they didn't really like that too much with Jamal Adams. But other than guys like that, it's really become a boring game. So the NFL took a shot at rebranding, making it, in my opinion, look somewhat like the NBA does with the dunk contests and all those kinds of things. And we saw a lot of that. Now, there was a lot of fun. And the game itself, flag. Doesn't that just it's crazy that it took us this long to get there? Why not? You can still do all the athleticism. The defensive backs still got to cover the wide receivers, and you saw some bombs and you can still have fun. And you don't need to tackle everybody, no helmets or anything. And I think that the NFL did a real good job of achieving the goal. And obviously you can learn and you can build on this. But guys, I thought it was a good time. Now, I'm not going to lie to you and tell you I watched the whole thing. I did not. I'm sick and I was trying to recoup and all that. But I kept feathering in and out. And then I watched a lot of the highlights and stuff. I watched the wide receiver catch contests and all that jazz. And it was a good time. And it looked like all the kids there, which is really what it boils down to. That's what it's all about. It's about the next generation of young fans falling in love with these guys, getting exposed to these different players, just seeing it in a completely different environment. I think that the NFL did a good job. Now, I'm not going to say that stuff all the time. I have lots of gripes with the NFL, but in my opinion, I thought they did a real good job, and good for them, because you know what? This can be a lot of fun. Why shouldn't it be fun? Why shouldn't the Pro Bowl weekend be fun? Instead of it merely being an honor, or being an honor where you can get hurt, it's an honor, and the players have that moment in time where they're the king of the world, where they're the star. There's no threat of being injured or anything. It's just have a good time. Let me show off my skills, and let me run around with some of the best in the league at this moment. Now, obviously, we know DJ Reed should have been there, and that's a different story. And we did see some. We saw our guys run around. We actually saw, I think it was Hardy who got a sack, which is nice to see, right? Nice to see your players do well in the Pro Bowl games. But anyway, I thought they did a good job with that. Hopefully, you watched it and had some fun. I used to love the NBA dunk contests and all that stuff when I was younger. I loved it. So this is cool. The wide receiver catch contest. Amon-Ra St. Brown did a flip and caught the ball. Crazy, right? Why not? Why not, man? So with this being our first week without any NFL football in a long time, that is the news of the week. So boy, oh boy, it's on like Donkey Kong out there right now, man. Jets fans, we're going nuts. I've even seen these rumors start at this fever pitch. We're going to get this guy. Yeah, it's a sure thing. I've seen that type of rumor go all the way down to people being pissed and ready to fire Joe Douglas for failing in getting that guy that we were all having. I've seen it. It's gone all the way down to be the emotional reaction for when it didn't happen. There's a lot to talk about, and we'll do that in this week's Intelligent Gripe. Guys, oh my goodness, Aaron Rodgers, holy macaroni. He was interviewed at the Pro Bowl games, and they said to him something along the lines of, which team do you think you'll be playing? And there was a lot of Raiders fans around, them being in Las Vegas, right? They're in Las Vegas. So people were yelling Raiders, and he goes, well, the most I'm hearing here is Raiders. And that's it. The Jets are out. Aaron Rodgers is going to the Raiders. That's all it took. Or then we have Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams said something like he misses his friend or something. That's it. The Jets lost. The Jets are out. I knew it. I knew the Jets couldn't be really in this Aaron Rodgers sweepstakes. Now, guys, let's take a look at some of the things that we're seeing out there. We're seeing all kinds of tweets, and you're seeing all sorts of responses and deep dives by people and reasons behind why they say this or that. The truth is, nobody knows anything. Nobody knows anything. One of the things that we know about our Joe Douglas regime, one thing we know is they are incredibly tight-lipped. So much, in fact. I'll give you one example, but the examples are everywhere. One example was when Sam Darnold was traded to the Carolina Panthers. We saw all sorts of reports from Rappaport and Schefter about he's going to get a first, and then he doesn't think he can get more than a third and a fifth. And we saw all these ideas that they were putting out there as solid. Nobody knew. It wasn't even that we were in talks with anyone. All of a sudden, we got a report, and it went something like this. It has been filed with the league office. The New York Jets traded Sam Darnold to the Carolina Panthers for a 2nd and 4th round pick next year and a 6th round pick this year. It wasn't like we're hearing, they're talking. Nothing. It was filed. That's how they learned about it. It was filed with the league office that the Jets traded Sam Darnold. Anything we're hearing right now, it's got a 95% chance of being complete bullshit. 95%, man. And I'm being generous. I want you to know that. Most of the things that we're seeing, hearing, if you look back over the last 2 or 3 years of rumors, most of the things that we heard were going to happen were dead wrong. Most of the draft picks that we were told were going to be, they didn't happen. I mean, we barely know anything coming out of the Jets organization. So why is it now that we believe all the stuff coming out? Every day it's different. So this is one, I'll talk to you about just some of my favorites here. So this came out on the same day. These tweets came out on the same exact day. Now, I don't know who Albert Elrod is. I don't know any of these guys. I don't pay attention like that. I know a couple of the big boys on top. I don't get caught up with I just don't know, because nobody's ever right, in my opinion, right? So I don't know. You can tell me better than I can tell you about their reps and all that stuff. But this tweet comes out. Breaking news. This is breaking. Breaking means breaking news, that this is fresh off the press. Nobody has this yet. This is breaking news. It's not even fully developed. That's how new it is. Individuals in the Jets organization have been told that Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers would prefer a trade to New York, amongst other destinations, such as the Raiders. Something to keep an eye on, hashtag NFL. Okay, there it is. So you got that. Now, what does that tell you? It tells you that if you're a Jets fan and you like Aaron Rodgers, you're supposed to be very, very happy right now, because somebody in the Jets organization was told by Aaron Rodgers that he wants New York. All right, great. Okay, good. Sounds good. Now, this came out on this at the same day, and this is by JPA, J.S. Riff Football. I don't know who they are. Jordan. Maybe Jordan knows football. I don't know. He's got a blue check, so that's very important these days. He has at least $8 a month, I think. So the report is, Aaron Rodgers has told his agent that he would rather play for the Raiders than the Jets, per Bad Boy of Scoops and Athletes First. There's no income tax in Las Vegas, and Rodgers could reunite with his old friend, Davante Adams. Now, funny, because last year, the report about Davante Adams came out that he and Derek Carr have been talking to each other for years, trying to accomplish the goal of reuniting. So that was the last year's big story, remember? This year, now Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams are long-lost buds, and they'll do anything to be reunited and all that stuff. So I don't know if one of them could be true. I mean, one of them has to be false, right? Told that Aaron Rodgers would rather go to New York. And this one said Aaron Rodgers would rather go. So one of them has to be wrong, if not both. So there's that. But doesn't it give you the idea that people are doing something called reaching or anonymous source, right? There's that whole thing. It's something I've been pointing to keep an eye on for years. Anonymous source could very easily be, I don't have a source. Anonymous sources. And the next thing, if you got a guy and you look like, okay, maybe he has a source, check out the followers and all that too. Some of these guys have, 204 followers, and they're supposed to be breaking news, man. I mean, I don't know. Can they? Sure. Remember that guy, Sideshow Bob or Crackhead Bob? Remember that? He's the guy who broke this story about Revis or something like that. And then for years, we got peppered with this Crackhead Bob guy. It's crazy, man. It's crazy stuff. So you got to know what you're looking at. But remember, underneath everything, we have to keep in mind, Joe Douglas's crew isn't telling anybody anything. They're not. We have years of data. Very little has leaked out. We didn't know about Jamal Adams' trade before the day it happened. We don't know about anything. We don't know about barely anything. Remember the Berrios is going to ask for $9 million bullshit that we all got upset for 2 months over? People were so mad at Berrios that they wanted him to not be re-signed. And 2 hours into free agency, Berrios is signed $6 million, whatever. It's like, okay, well, what happened to the $9 million thing? Or $3 million? You know what I mean? It's just a crazy thing. People are talking. When you look at that one source, that was just a guy. That was just some agent at the Senior Bowl just talking. They're having a convo. That's all. But when you don't look at this stuff, you can get upset. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you. The New York Jets, nobody's asking them anything. This is an actual scoop. I asked somebody, what's going on? What are they saying? And the thing is, the Jets are trying to put out different conversations. And right now, all anybody gives a shit about is the quarterback thing. That's all. Nobody will ask them questions, barely. I mean, if they do, it's just kind of like a nod. All right, I'll ask you about this guy. But all anybody's talking, like whenever they get with anyone, they try to have a dialogue one way or the other, and nobody cares. All they want to talk about is the quarterback. So the Jets are aware, right? That's the entire narrative out here is who their quarterback is going to be. Now, I talked about it last week in last week's podcast, episode 102. I am a believer that if the Derek Carr trade can happen, if it's a signature away, you can't wait for Aaron Rodgers. You got to just do it. That's my thoughts. Now, the Jets might not feel that way, and I know a lot of Jets fans don't feel that way. But that's where I stand. I'm totally happy with Aaron Rodgers or Derek Carr. I know people that don't like Derek Carr, they've yet to give me anything substantial that I can really be nervous about. Nervous about nothing. The one that I'm most nervous, the one that sticks even a little bit, is the fact that he might be a little bit soft for New York. Maybe. Sure. I'm into that. Okay, he likes to cry and okay, right. Sensitive fella. That's the only thing. I still don't think that's too much. He's a 9-year vet. It's not a kid coming in from college and he has that. This guy's been in the NFL. He knows the deal. He knows what's going on. So, but anything else, cold weather games, never been, only 2 times in the playoffs. Dude, those 2 times in the playoffs were on his shoulders, man. He carried the team to the playoffs. So anyway, I'm a fan of Derek Carr being signed if he's the guy. Now, the scary part is, and this is where I can understand Jets fans being a little bit nervous, even if you don't love Carr or Aaron, you got to know that's the top tier. I mean, if they come down, we talked about Jimmy G. He's got, his stats are fantastic, but he's always hurt. So there's that. And then we're talking about guys like Ryan Tannehill, Baker Mayfield, Jacoby Brissett, Jameis Winston, those types of guys, Gardner Minshew. If the Jets go all the way down to that, I'm going to tell you now, as much as I support Joe Douglas and everything, I'm going to be looking at that as a whiff. They whiffed. That's what it's going to be. So I understand Jets fans being upset with the idea of it. But again, there's no reason for us to get this upset this early because nothing's happened. Nobody can even really talk yet. And they are, of course. Of course, there's talking going on. But anything of fit, there's nothing really going on. Everybody's out there throwing stuff against the wall. Some of these guys you're going to see, they actually will tell you at 2 separate times the exact opposite story. They will say, this is what I heard. He said he wants to go to New York. The same guy a week and a half later will say, this is what I heard. He wants to go to the Raiders. And then he'll go, this is what I heard. He said he wants to play for the Dolphins. He'll do all that. Why? Because then something's going to hit. He's more likely to hit. So Jets fans, this is the whole thing. Nobody knows anything, and there's no reason to get upset. We'll get upset when there's something to get upset about. That's how to do it, and that is the intelligent gripe. So yeah, man, we're going into Super Bowl week, everybody. Super Bowl week. It's going to be a blast. Not watching the Jets in yet another Super Bowl. Crazy stuff. Who you rooting for? You AFC? You going AFC? I tend to go AFC. Unless it's, you know what? That's not true anymore. That's because the Pats. I root against the Pats every friggin' time. So they've kind of killed that for me. I used to be AFC. The Pats have crushed that for me. I almost forgot. 20 years. I put it out of my damn memory. But I don't know. You got the Chiefs and the Eagles. I got a lot of Eagles fans, friends. I don't really know too many Chief fans, friends, so that might have some sway. I'm probably not. I'm probably going to end up rooting for the Chiefs. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Let me know who you're rooting for. Do you do AFC? Do you do that? Does anybody care anymore? I don't know. I think everything's blurred. I used to be a real AFC guy. Now, not so much. But guys, that is the episode. I hope you had a good time. I hope I get better, man. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of being sick. Again, I'm bracing for the healthiest 2023 from February, mid-February on that I've ever lived. It's going to be the best year ever. Guys, thanks for being here. And as always, go Jets.